Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
When Tony Blair dived into the EU referendum debate this morning, calling for more passion from the pro-EU side, he also deplored the use of the E word. The E word is elites. He challenged the idea, put about by many who want a Brexit, that backing Britain's membership of the EU was the choice of the political elite, opining that there are plenty of elites on the other side too. So, who are the elites and when did it become such a loaded word? We'll be discussing that and whether the whole debate over the referendum needs broadening in a moment. But first, here's our resident etymologist, John Sweeney.
Britain's never-ending class war has spawned a new mutation in the last few weeks. The elites are under attack. So who are these elites of whom they speak? Well, to find out more, there's no better a creature than Bertie. He's a whippy-poo, half a toy poodle and half a whippet. So he's got a paw in both camps, so to speak. Half elite, half non-elite. So we think Bertie here is the best creature to help us chew through Britain's latest and most troubling social dilemma. Battle commenced on Newsnight a month ago.
What's very clear about the 75, and in this respect this referendum is exactly the same, is the establishment and the elites, including of course this great corporation of which Evan is a member, are you very fervently.
Are you elite?
Others will judge.
I do.
Elitism ain't what it used to be. So to explain why, here's a member of the elite, the one-time British king of what the Mayor of London calls whiff-waff.
I think it has two components. One is the idea that the people who got to the top did so in a rigged game because they had the right connections rather than because they worked hard and had the ability. I think the other thing is that once they've got there, they want to self-perpetuate, give it to other people that they know rather than to the public. And therefore there's a distance between the elite and the ones who elect them.
As the Euro referendum hits fever pitch, or at least a host of golden daffodils, Bertie and I went in search of the elite. I asked the owner of a British bulldog whether he was a member of the elite.
I don't know, it depends what you're classing as an elite, really. It's, you know, there's an elite in all sorts of things, and I mean all sorts of...
Don't eat the microphone, Bentley. Please don't eat the microphone. Would you say that Bentley was a member of an elite?
He's always elite.
Is Rose a member of the elite?
In the dog world, I'd say yes. Mm-hmm.
And are you a member of the elite?
Certainly not.
The serious point to this, if there is one, is that the European Union debates, the argument is that people who are arguing in favour of leaving are not of the elite, and the people who are in favour of remaining are the elites. Do you buy that?
No, I don't actually. I'm interested in remaining, and it's nothing to do with economics, it's to do with I'm just post-war, and somehow the idea of a united Europe attracts me more than a fragmented Europe.
We've always bred old English sheepdogs. We had 1990s winner at Crush.
Is your dog a member of the elite?
Well, I wouldn't have thought so. He's just a dog, he's a pet.
What about you?
Not really, no. All the people you talk to that want to stay in it are getting definitely something out of it. I'm getting nothing out of it, but I don't see the point of being ruled by Brussels. If you want to do something even in the park, you've got to get permission to do this and you do that. It's unbelievable.
The ping pong man told me he went to a comp. Really, we all know that you went to Eton and you've had elocution lessons, true or false?
I've never had an elocution lesson. I would love a society where it didn't matter what your accent was. It didn't matter what kind of a jacket you wore, even if it was as hideous as that one.
Leave it out, Gov.
It would only matter your ability and your work ethic.
The bike back, Bertie. Give me the bike back. Bertie, give me the bike back. Bertie, Bertie, Bertie. Whether you're for leave or remain, class still dogs our society. As they say, never work with children or animals.
John Sweeney and his dog. Well, joining me to debate the debate about Europe are the writer Will Self and Munira Mirza, London's Deputy Mayor for Education and Culture. We'll go on to talk about the broader topics in terms of the tenor of the campaign later. But first, Munira, you're for leaving the EU. So why do you think that calling those in the Remain camp the elite is an effective tool, as it were?
I suppose it reflects the way in which lots of people feel about the EU as being so far removed from their lives. The decision-making is very remote. They feel it's very anti-democratic. And that sense that the elite is not thinking about their interests is quite a potent one. And I think that, you know...
But would you use language like that? Well, you just are to explain, but would you, in your everyday discourse on the campaign, agree with using those sentiments?
What, talking about an elite? Well, I think
being an elite that wants to remain and, as you say, having the reins of power, whereas you don't have the reins of power, you want to leave.
No, I think the amazing thing about the referendum is that people are being given a choice about something that's so fundamental to our democracy. It's about how we're governed, our economy, where we put our money, borders, and the idea that an unelected elite might make those decisions in Brussels, the idea that you might be able to overturn that or, you know, take some control back from that is very exciting for a lot of people.
Will Self.
Well, I think it's just becoming a bit of a catch-all, the elite term. It's really a way of people registering. I mean, I agree with Munira to the extent that it's a registration of a disconnection from the political class. And I think, you know, by pushing it further and further away to Brussels, we can ignore what's on the end of our fork rather more domestically, which is a disconnection within our existing polity. So that's why semantically it becomes very, very fluid and slippery, because it can be applied anywhere. I mean, and the idea of people kind of troughing on the kind of Brussels gravy train is kind of true, especially during the good times. I mean, I can think of some very egregious examples in the political class. You know, like, for example, Neil Kinnock, who was corruption commissioner in Brussels for wherever it was for 7 years and picked up a very generous salary and, you know, that kind of thing I think people are angry about. But, you know, recall a few years ago it was focused on MPs in Westminster. So I think it's a free-floating dissatisfaction rather than something that's vitally connected.
I mean, you work for Boris, and he sent you the email to say sign up for the campaign or you get sacked. Is that right?
Well, no one's been sacked. I think that's worth mentioning. I mean, he said it was a mistake. You know, people are free to speak their mind.
Yeah, but look at what's happened to him overnight. He's come out for Brexit, and instantly his rhetoric has gone apocalyptic in true Borisian style. He's talking about, you know, the kind of, you know, dictators in Brussels and how honest and true English people have to free themselves.
This isn't just about a few politicians. I mean, this is about a general sentiment, which I think we can recognise that many people around the world, not just in the UK, feel very disengaged from politics, and that's why you see the rise of things like Trump and Sanders and
right.
across
If you
Europe.
go and say to them, "Are you disengaged from Brussels?" They go, "Yeah." If you say you disengaged from Westminster, they say, "Yeah." You say you disengaged from Little Muckling in the Marsh Parish Council, they'll say, "Yes."
But what are we missing in the debate? Let's talk. What are we missing in the debate?
What we're missing in the debate is a real understanding of what the issues are, and it's in the interest of neither side to discuss the truth, which is that it doesn't matter if you have a Brexit vote for the referendum or you stay. The fundamental issues over control of borders, for example, and over the people's control of you know, fundamental issues of governance won't be improved in either way.
Well, I think more people in this country know the names of their MPs than their MEPs, and it's true that Brexit won't solve overnight all the problems with our democracy, the sense of disengagement. But I think it is an important moment because it is giving people a choice over some very real issues in our society about the money that we send over, who makes decisions about what our borders should be and who we prioritise. I mean, the thing that I think is
it's more
interesting...
to do with the political class trying to invigorate its own sense of purpose. The truth is we're living in a more febrile and more vociferous world
But then
than
isn't
ever.
that why it's good that we have these arguments out in public? And for instance...
If
very
they're
good.
on the right points,
But for
not
instance-
about elites and fear-mongering. And,
Well, I think the arguments will be heard, which is why I think it's great that the BBC, for instance, are doing this mass TV debate at Wembley, that people will get a chance to hear different arguments. The thing that I find slightly worrying about the way in which it's presented is that there is a kind of lazy assumption that all the people who want to leave are Little Englanders, xenophobic, acolytes of Nigel Farage, and therefore, if you are a right-thinking, modern progressive, you must want to remain. And I think that there's a kind of a laziness in that thinking, because actually there are some very good internationalist arguments, progressive arguments for wanting to
well, I haven't heard
which
any,
are-
actually.
Well,
what
I'm
I've
very
heard
happy
is a
to-
Tory MP of British South Asian, actually Guyanan heritage, coming out this evening, Guyanan Asian, and saying that he's in favour of Brexit, and his headline argument is good old economics, money, it's money in your pocket.
Yeah, there
He
are
said
people
what
on the other
tipped him,
side.
though, was the issue of people from outside the European Union being discriminated against in terms of...
Well, I'm afraid we're going to have to wrap it up, and I'm sure we'll come back to this several times before the vote.